I've gone rogue today. Sean is off taking my middle daughter to her aerial arts class, and I thought I would get in a quick video. Shh, don't tell him, it's behind his back. Today I am going to do a review of the Exit Advent Calendar for you. Now, here it is. We've done it this year. It's our very first time doing an Exit Advent Calendar. Now, you might be thinking, like, what a crazy time to be doing a review of an Advent Calendar because, well, that time is past. However, this is here for you so that you can decide whether this is going to be worth it for you to get one next year. When these go for retail through the year, at least the last couple of years, they tend to go really fast. They're snatched up quickly, and well, you have to wonder, is it worth the cost? Because they tend to be around $50 for what is, in essence, a disposable game. So is it worth it? Let's look into that. Now, to begin with, the Exit games, if you aren't familiar, they're essentially escape room style puzzle adventures that could be done from 1 to 4 players. It really works best between 1 or 2. The games tend to be about this big. They're fairly small, and they run for about an hour. When you're finished it, you tend to cut pieces or fold or otherwise destroy elements, so they tend to be a one-time play, but they also tend to be a fairly cheap cost at between $10 or $20. So you pay for the experience. Like that, the Exit Advent Calendars are destroyed as you work through it. So you start like any Advent Calendar at day 1. There's a corresponding booklet for you to read out that day's part of the story, and then you get to open up the room. The room will contain a scene as well as little cards or other extraneous little parts for you to work out that puzzle for the day. When you solve that puzzle, you'll be directed towards what the next room will be. There will be a code that you decipher, and otherwise you don't even know what your next day to open is until you get that code. Make sure that it's correct, and now you'll know what's your next door for the next day. Each of these puzzles tends to run about 5 minutes is what we found working it, which was actually really nice and kind of what you want for something that's an everyday game where you might not have a lot of time on every given day. It was nice that generally the puzzles were fairly easy. There were once or twice we got a little bit more stumped, and took us maybe about more like 15-20 minutes to do a day. It was usually because we were overthinking it in the end. But the nice thing about the exits is that if you are stumped, there are clues you can go towards. There's usually a level 1 clue that gives you a little bit of a hint, and then another level that can really strongly point you towards the answer. And finally, if you really don't know what's going on, you can check the solution. So you always are able to figure it out one way or another. We never needed to use the clue cards. They were all pretty basic, and it was actually nice that there were a few days that kind of got us really thinking. The fun thing about the destruction element is you really don't know how you're going to wind up using the different components. Sometimes there's going to be cutting, sometimes there's going to be folding or flipping or actually taking the entire box apart. You don't know what you're going to do, and it makes it exciting. This actually gets into an element of our love-hate relationship with the exit lines, because we love them because they are fun to do. They're a fun experience and adventure. But at the same time, we aren't a fan of the colossal waste that it creates, because you can't just move it on to somebody else in the community, resell it, or regift it. It is garbage. Now, to be fair, it's not a lot of garbage when you think about when we buy games and all of the inserts that might have punch boards and what you're throwing out there. It's actually a small amount in comparison to some of that, but it still would be nice to be able to either resell or regift these experiences along. However, it is really fun to be able to really get into the components, to interact with them, to manipulate them. It's like our adult gamers arts and crafts. So that's actually an element that we really like about the exit line games, and they really capture the heart of that with these exit calendars. So do I recommend you go out and get one for next year? If you like puzzle escape room type adventures, if you like the exit line, I think it's absolutely worth the price tag. You get to do something every day for an entire month. The storyline that it pulls together is kind of fun, and I think too it's nice to have an advent calendar option that's not food or drink based as well. It was a really good experience, and we're really glad that we did it. As far as with the puzzles, one thing I wanted to mention is there was one that was one of my favorite puzzles, but they included a little card in it that actually kind of gave you the answer, and I was a little disappointed with that one because, man, I wanted to figure out that one on my own, and I believe that little bit of extra that they gave you could have been in the clue section. And my favorite puzzle was actually the very last day, and it was really clever, and I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I don't want to get too many spoilers in this review in case you wind up picking up this one. So right now they have two different ones available. I don't recall the name of them both, but I will show you up on the screen. This one is, and I don't even recall the name of this one because if you can see, the title isn't there anymore, but in any case, we did this one this year, and we hope to do the other one next year. And yeah, it was a really great experience. It would be great as one person. You can do it as two, but I did find that sometimes it wasn't the best at two players because many of the puzzles were simple enough. Whoever's first having a go at it usually gets to solve it. But it was still a fun experience with two people. Before I finish up, I can show you a little bit really quickly with what I mean. So as you can see, this has been cut and used in different ways, and some things have been removed and some things have been taken apart. Each room has its own little image as well. So it's a fun adventure that can be enjoyable for even kids as well. In any case, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe down below if you like our content, and we hope to see you again soon. And as we've said before, happy gaming, folks.